We are joined by Governor Jesse Ventura. Hello, Governor.
Hi, Joe. How are you today?
Pretty good. Thank you for calling. We tried to reach you yesterday.
You did? Over what?
Well, a San Francisco Chronicle story
Yeah?
detailed leading California pollsters find that you have an 80% name recognition factor in California, more name recognition in California than Californians even have for their own governor, Gray Davis, and that the pollsters say that Al Gore and George W. Bush had best look over their shoulder in the event you choose to run for president in the year 2000, which I, of course, continue to predict that you will.
Joe, you got to quit doing that. You're putting me into a corner where I might have to do it.
I know damn well you want to do it.
You think I do?
Yes.
Yeah, Bob, one thing, though, Joe, if you win California, you're pretty much the president.
That's right. And you already have 80% name recognition factor in California. Gray Davis, their governor, has a 53% name recognition
But,
factor.
Joe, in all seriousness, I mean, would I dare be out? Oh, Tony, there goes a turbo. Anyway.
There goes a what?
A turbo Porsche just went by.
Where are you?
I'm over at Carousel.
What, are you buying a car?
No, I'm just here looking when watering my mouth. No, I have my Porsche,
I know. Is it over there now getting fixed?
Well, yeah, I got to get an oil change in that.
Did you sell the older one?
Huh?
Did you
I
sell?
sold the old
you
one.
did. Okay.
What are you driving now?
No, he had two.
Porsche, my 90.
He had two. He sold.
What's the one you tried? What's the one you tried?
911S, and then I had a 90.
What's the one you tried to sell me?
The 78.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I sold that. That was a great buy.
Yeah.
You missed out on.
I know I did.
But
Arnold
anyway,
drove
Joe, do you really? I mean, that would be too. I'd then have my finger on the button, wouldn't I?
Yes, you would.
That's too scary to think about. Don't you think so?
Look, I'm telling you, if you want it, I think it's yours.
Do you really?
Yes.
But, Joe, then you'd have to move to Washington to broadcast.
No, I'd stay the humble little mayor of Garage
wait a minute
Logic
now.
and just hope that maybe you'd invite us to the White House.
Oh, wait a
You know what, though, Joe? If I truly did run,
Mhm.
I think I'd move the White House here.
Yeah,
I think we'd shift it to the Midwest.
That'd be good because then I could produce for you still and be a member of his staff.
right.
Yeah,
Because
I think I'd have-
if he runs for president, I'm bailing on you.
I'm just,
not-
Governor.
In all seriousness, Joe, you got to quit putting this out because you're forcing me to. What if I get elected and I don't run? Do you have to do it then?
You're not that good.
Well, I mean, what if you don't run and you just get the most votes, and would they make you?
Yeah, plus, as it came up yesterday on the show, we don't know where Mrs. Ventura would stand on this.
Oh, she's very much against
I would imagine so. She's back at her horse farm pretty much for the summer, and I would imagine that if you decided to run for the governor, for president, she might crook her finger and say, Jesse, we're going to have a little talk here.
No, you know what I'd get? I'd get the look.
You'd get the look big
Get
time.
the big time look.
But also in his favor, we'd say if she didn't want to do anything, he'd get the now crowd. You'd get all the feminists saying, well, let her do whatever she wants to do.
See, you can't lose. No matter what you do,
King Midas.
you can't lose.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
only June of 99. This is a year from November. Think how long that is for people to work on your brain.
Yeah, but I have a very complicated brain, Joe.
Well,
They'll barely get in through the front scabial monotomy or whatever it's called.
the front scabial monotomy. Well, Governor, I'm just reporting to you. We talked about it yesterday for quite some time. That's a legitimate, big-time newspaper. They were quoting Paul Maslin, who's a big-time pollster. And whether you like it or not, the pollsters are terribly impressed.
Well, I'm very flattered, and I don't know what to say. I got enough problems here taking care of Minnesota and fighting off the attacks from them Republicans at their convention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Did
they
you
were
know
after you.
about that one, Joe?
I read about it. Yeah.
Who is it? Cooper came out with my governor's dumber than your governor.
Yes, I did.
You know what's amazing about that?
Yeah.
Where does that put him since I beat him and his candidate?
His logic.
Your logic, as always, is faultless. What are you doing? Are you getting an oil change?
Yeah, I'm over here getting an oil change.
So they're letting you drive your own car today?
I drive it whenever I want to drive it. Actually, no. What I do now is one of the security guys drives it, and I ride behind and watch.
Well, put the security guy in the navigator. You drive the German car.
You think so?
You got to get behind the wheel of that thing.
I've forgotten how to drive.
Yeah, well, then sell me the 90.
Do you want to buy it?
What is it, a 911?
It's C4. Carrera 4.
How many miles on it?
About 54,000.
Yeah, there's only 54 because he was too cheap to drive it here to the station every day when he worked here.
No, Joe, seriously, if you're interested in it, I would consider.
All right, we'll talk.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Governor.
All right, we'll see you later.
And
Joe.
don't be surprised if the pollsters call you.
If the pollsters call me,
right?
What do I tell them?
I don't know. You tell them just what you told me.
He's the next.
You'd be the guy
Powell.
with your hand on the button.
Next
I'll
Colin
refer him to
Powell.
Garage Logic.
All right, thank you.
All right, Joe. Bye.
Governor Jesse Ventura. It was very nice of him to check in. It was.
Was I supposed to
We're
play
not
Hail
talking
to the
about that
Chief there?
today, not yet.
Oh.
But you will be playing it.
Okay.
By January of 2001.
I'll take it.
There's nothing that would make me change my mind.
Check
Now,
it.
I told you that I was at Leech Lake.
Yes,
And-
Leech Lake, and you said it was a terrible name, and I agree.
Well, it's a wonderful lake.
Mhm.
Just a great lake.
I'm trying to think if I've ever been there.
Well, I'm sure you haven't. But can you think of anything that you would not want on you worse than a leech?
No. A leech scares. Well, a tick, but I guess a tick would be behind a leech.
But leech has the additional connotations of blood sucking
right,
and
right.
just scary. So we tried to come up with the names of lakes
Right.
that would be worse than
Right.
leech. Boyle Lake.
Boyle Lake would not be.
What were you going to tell me there?
I was going to tell you, actually, I thought of another one.
All right, what?
Suck Lake or Lake Suck.
That doesn't do much for
Oh,
me.
see, that's why I want to tell you.
But here are the 10 lakes with names worse than leech. Right?
Okay. These lakes all have names that are worse than Leech Lake.
That's how I would say it.
Right.
Yeah. Phlegm. See, would you want to go swimming in Phlegm Lake?
If it's spelled with a PH, I don't think so.
It's PHLEGM.
Oh,
Phlegm.
man, no way.
Yeah. Sputum. No. See, you wouldn't want any part of that, would you?
I think I'd
Got a
move-
big muskie out of sputum over the weekend. Blood.
Blood Lake, I'd probably.
This was your contribution.
I'd find another lake to go camp at.
Blood.
Or fish in.
Yeah.
Blood Lake.
Blood. I got a cabin up on Blood.
That's what
Maybe
you
you
have
want to come up for the weekend.
That's where you have to put it in that perspective. You're telling it, hey, where's your lake, Ray?
We're up at Blood. We got a nice place up at Blood.
Can you see the reaction? You just moved into town. You
Yeah.
say, where you go? Well, we're packing it up. We got a big cabin on Blood.
But see, that would be good, maybe, because then nobody would bother you. Can you come up to Blood this weekend? No, we got to go to a confirmation or something.
What were you swimming in?
Blood Lake. E. coli.
No.
No. See, you. Yeah, I got my jet ski up on E. coli. Well, I mean, that's the thing Leech does to you. That's how powerfully bad the name is.
It's a foul. I mean, just the audio sound is bad.
Infection.
Lake infection.
Lake infection.
Where's your brother?
He's got a place up on Infection. Yeah. Yeah, it's on the north arm there.
Yeah, they're pulling crappies out of lake infection like you wouldn't believe this year. Fry them up right on shore.
Rat. You know what? There probably is a rat lake.
There probably is, but would you go to Rat Lake?
No, I wouldn't.
Right.
Well, that would be the point of naming.
Oh, sure. If you want to keep people away, you tell the people, hey, listen, we're going to head up to Rat Lake. You kids want to go? No, I don't want to go. Or there's new development on Rat Lake. It's probably not very popular.
Yeah. Where were we? Rat?
I think you had read off the name Rat Lake.
Ghetto.
My perception of Ghetto Lake is fun, though.
Yeah,
but
it's just run
a lot
down
of
and-
people wouldn't probably, build new development on
No.
Ghetto Lake.
Urine Lake. That wouldn't.
That was almost one of the Great Lakes, but then the Huron.
Then they changed it to
right,
Huron,
Huron,
right.
a little more easy to visit.
Leper. See that, you really doesn't, you don't think of anything.
That's what you have to think. You put it in
Right.
terms of, hey, where's your cabin?
It's up on Leper.
What does not work for me?
You got a boat up there? No, we got a pontoon.
Yeah, the handle keeps falling off.
Got a
though.
pontoon, but it's corroded. There's something wrong with it. But here's the number one worst name for a lake.
All right.
You know, when you're trying to think of names of lakes, worse than Leech Lake. You know,
Right.
right?
Right.
Puss.
Ooh.
To me, that would be a worse name.
You don't want
Leech,
to go on.
You'd take Leech over Puss.
Right.
Right.
Hey, speaking of lakes,
Yeah.
I got the lake detective on line 4 on
Yeah.
some lake names and on Okoboji.
Hello, Lake Detective. Lake Detective.
It's actually, what is it? Cal 3? Sorry.
All right. Hello, LD.
Hello, Joe.
Just a minute.
You bet.
Just a minute. The blue water of Lake Okoboji.
Right.
What is that all about?
It has to do a lot. You know, there's a lot of limestone in the area. They do get some calcium carbonate precipitates, and with a light precipitate, it gives you kind of a light gray, almost a bluish look.
All right. The man has never been stumped, Garage Logic's own lake detective. And I was at Leech Lake, which I happen to think is a wonderful lake, by the way, but really is saddled with a poor name.
It is, but it could have been worse, Joe.
Yeah?
Here's the original name.
Yep.
It's the Ojibwe name. It's Gasaga Makeg Sagagan,
Really?
which means the place of the Leech Lake. And Nicolay wrote back in the 1830s that this name implies that its waters contain a remarkable number of leeches.
And apparently that is true.
Actually, they do. They have a certain species up there that's about 11 or 12 or 13 inches long.
And is there any particular reason why that lake would be more leech infested than others?
Well, it has exactly the right conditions for the leeches to hide. They have not done that species of leech hasn't done nearly as well in other lakes. Although they are in other lakes as well. They just aren't as common.
Right. Can you think of some names of lakes that are worse than Leech?
I'll tell you what, you hit some of them. There actually are some rat lakes. In fact, there's a whole bunch of rat lakes, but they are generally named for muskrats.
Right.
So there's a basis for that.
Well, see, muskrat doesn't sound so bad.
No, I think that was better.
There are some new ones now coming in. You wouldn't want a cabin on any place called Septic Lake.
That'd be a bad name.
Oh, yeah.
Maggot Lake. That wouldn't work.
No, that wouldn't work.
Maggot or septic or milfoil. Lake milfoil
Lake
people would stay
milfoil
out
would-
of.
But some of those lakes.
Boner Lake. That's
That
not
wouldn't
it.
be popular.
Wouldn't
Not a
be-
good big. Well, maybe
Yeah,
for the
it could work
college
with a
crowd.
certain crowd. Right.
Yes.
Right.
But some of these lakes, for example, like green lakes, they're not really green. What happens is, like, there's a green lake up in Candiota County.
Mm-hmm.
That was named because the water was so clear, it reflected the trees from the shoreline.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes a little bit misleading.
Well, green is a lovely name of a lake compared to Leech. And I don't want to get in trouble with the Leech Lake people because, again, I think it's a great body of water.
It's absolutely.
But we were sitting around trying to think of names that would be. I mean, when you think of all the creatures in Minnesota you don't want on your skin, Leech would be right at the top of the list.
Top of my list.
Yeah, but they're no big deal, really, are they?
No,
LD?
they're not.
You know.
They have that little chemical that keeps things from clotting. So when you pull them off, you do bleed for a little while, but
Right.
perfectly natural.
And are you on a case now, sir?
Yes, I am. I'm heading up to Detroit Lakes tomorrow. We're aerating a wetland area using a solar-powered aerator.
Well, please stay in touch with us. The man has never been stumped.
All right, Joe.
He's Garage Logic's own lake detective.
But that's what.
Well, you might as well name a lake then Medical
But
Waste.
next time you talk to someone about that, and I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
I am, maybe someone
try
that
what?
possibly didn't hear the show.
Yeah.
I'm going to I don't have a cabin, but I'm going to pretend I do.
Yeah.
And I'll get into a conversation.
Right.
And I'm going to use one of those just to see what the reaction is.
We got a place up on Puss. Yeah, you could come up anytime you want.
But you have to throw Puss or Puss Lake in.
Right.
Puss Lake up by, it's right off of,
Oh, I
right
had
outside of
the-
McGregor.
Sure, I had the kids swimming in Puss last week. and you got a jet ski up there? Jet
And you
skis
just
don't
keep
work
going.
well on Puss.
No, Lake Leper, they got a lot of sandbars. on
But
Leper.
that's like one of those tricks you play in an elevator, I got new socks on. You could be on an elevator and say, yeah, we were up at the cabin, up at Puss.
Where's your... Another kid drowned in Blood Lake. It wasn't. It was
God,
pretty bad.
that blood is even worse than Puss.
Blood Lake is really thick this
Phlegm.
year with a lot of muck.
Phlegm isn't good either.
No.
Oh, God.
Flem, I haven't seen that one on the map. Well, it's been around, and not a lot of people know about it. It's not a
Were you up
cabins
near
on it.
McGregor?
Yeah, not a lot of cabins on
No,
the
there
Flem
isn't.
this year.
You're the only one out there, aren't you, on Flem?
Oh, man.
Spooky old rookies, the only one out there with a cabin on Flem. Well, anyway, who did this? Who got this website
I
from
believe
How
it was
Stuff
Dibble,
Works?
because she just came. We got a couple of emails on it, and she brought one in here, too.
Well, it just answers everything you want to know. You know, how does your sense of smell work? How do they make cotton candy? What does the name WD-40 stand for? How does snoring work? Well, I don't really care.
What's
You
What's HSW? Oh, How Stuff Works. Adoy.
Don't add that to your list of things not to say. All right. Moron number 2.
Well, there's wow, ooh, and doy.
I wish I could find it. Yes, I can.
What?
I'm going to tell you something. You better start getting more personally involved in your work, or I'm going to stab you through the heart with a pencil. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
Why do some appliances have 2 prongs on their outlets and some have 3? Well, because some are grounded.
I wouldn't even know that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this is a nice website. It's by somebody named Marshall Brain. HowStuffWorks.com. What's in it for him? It's the cool site of the year. 1998, it won some award as Cool Site of the Year, the coolest site on the internet.
Well, okay.
Well, there's got to be something in it for a
Sure,
guy.
here
Is
we
it some
go.
guy just sitting around his house?
No, How Stuff Works is a production of BYG Publishing. So they probably have a book or 2 out, but have decided that they'd... Are you... Are you okay?
I just fell. Oh, you're one of those.
Oh,
that
no,
takes-
no.
Yeah, sure, you enjoy the fact that I'm hurt?
If you would have been clutching your heart, I would have called 911, but I would have stayed in here laughing. What were you doing?
I'm trying to retrieve the internet thing. It went on the floor,
Did
and
you,
I went.
did you throw it?
I went over.
I looked down. Yeah, sure. BYG Publishing. Such, are you there? Hello?
Okay, hey, this is.
You know, Garage Logic. You got to love it. And
Yeah. All right, start the. Well, here's the. Oh, we're gonna get. I'm gonna get up in the crow's nest. All right, bring it down just a little. We gotta create a. There we go. That's almost too much. There you go. Now give me a few birds. Perfect. Now you're at the port bow. I don't know why you've chosen that, but that's where you are.
because I remember port.
I'm in the crow's nest. USS Common Sense.
Start waving a little bit.
Okay, well, we're at sea. My telescope is trained on all of the cultural disasters that befall Gumption County. Right? Look out now. Bring it. Who's at the wheel? That's one thing we've never solved.
Kelly Lynn just.
Kelly's
grabbed
at the wheel.
Thanks, Cal.
Take it a little starboard, please, because you're about to run into a fishing boat. Take it a little starboard.
She gets a little
Swing
excited.
it, swing it, swing
She
it.
gets a
Swing
little
it,
excited.
swing it around, Kelly. Come on. All right. And I'll bring it back to straight course. All right.
So you can barely hear her because you have the microphone in the crow's nest, and
That's
she's
right.
back at the wheel.
USS Common Sense out on the seas of cultural ruination. But we sail proudly. Now take it starboard again. Just there you go. Very good. Listen to this letter. Remember the guy that we're at sail now as I read this.
Yes. Sailing.
That's right. You remember the guy from Isle, Minnesota, the teacher, Sean, who would occasionally write us? He was a
Yes.
Garage Logic teacher.
I do.
And he would spring quizzes on the kids, you know, what's more important, your feelings or 8-cylinder, stuff like that.
Right.
The guy was really having fun with the kids. He heard the first hour today when we were talking about left, Kelly. Port. Got it?
Yes.
All right. He heard the first hour when the teacher or the principal up in International Falls apparently will be called to bear up under some legal scrutiny for not supporting the pregnant homecoming queen.
Right.
And altering the vote, in fact, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Joe, you are exactly correct The line between kids and adults is getting more and more blurred as the USS Common Sense sails towards the year 2000. We're at sail right now.
Mm-hmm.
This reminds me of an incident that got me into trouble with administration last year at Isle High School. One day, while chowing down a donut and some coffee during one of my early morning classes, one of my students whined, "That's not fair. How come you get to eat in class and we can't?" "Your rules don't apply to me," I replied tersely. Wouldn't you know it, I got hauled into the principal's office later that same week to meet with the kid and her parents along with the administration. I explained to the adults present that we enjoy many privileges that kids do not, such as voting, getting drafted in times of war, drinking, and smoking the occasional heater. I was reminded that I should set a good example for the kids. I told them that I did. I put my garbage in the trash can. Kids have trouble doing this. That is why they are not allowed to eat in the classroom. Kids with Mountain Dew and Doritos in a classroom are generally pigs, let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
This incident only proved to show me that there are few remaining privileges to adulthood, and therefore school authority is increasingly held in contempt. The proverbial lunatics are slowly gaining control of the asylum. Good luck, Sean.
I would tell Sean to sail on.
He did. I don't think he's a teacher anymore. Remember?
Yes, can you imagine
Member.
that, though?
I always say member instead of remember. Member?
Can you imagine in your
God
head
almighty.
going after a teacher said that to you, going into the principal's office and saying the teacher...
Hold it. Kelly, starboard, please. Just a hair. You got it? All right. Yes, Matt, continue.
Going into the principal, after a teacher said that to you, "Hey, my rules don't apply to you guys."
Right.
I'd go, "Well, okay, he's got a point," and open my math book or history book and go to work. I would never think of going to the principal or the office and saying, "Look what this guy said to me."
Either would I.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't comprehend it. But the kids, they get it at an early age, don't they?
I can comprehend.
You doing all right up there?
Me?
In the crow's nest?
Oh, yeah. I love it up here.
You kind of left the crow's nest for a split second. You left the crow's nest.
I did. In my
and
mind.
came back
In my
here,
mind,
right.
I did. I
And
did.
I asked you, "Are you doing okay up there?" And you looked around. What?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, good.
I'm back up there.
Because you're
now.
up high up there.
Are you down there? Are you all right?
On the port side.
No. Kelly, you all right at the wheel?
Aye, Captain.
Whoa, I'm leaning now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Look out.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Of course, I lean the other way
Oh,
that
yeah, I
you lean.
forgot.
We're going this way.
Well, we don't quite have it down yet. We're still working on it. Theater of the mind.
Well, I like
And
it,
the
though.
eye.
I like being out on the good USS Common Sense.
Especially after something like this.
God.
You need some fresh seawater to
What
get
happened?
you.
Did we just enter a port?
It's not in a loop.
Did we-
We got to keep restarting the waves. Sometimes the waves stop when the
What,
seas
did we
are
hit
calm.
ground?
When the
what
seas
are we
are
on the
calm.
shores?
Seas
on
are
the shoals?
when the seas are calm. That the waves stop.
Take us back out to sea.
All right.
We're not done. Oh, yeah. I'm not coming down out of the crow's nest.
Of course, when we go out to sea,
Right.
the seagulls appear.
That's of course they do because they're following the ship in hopes of
Right.
getting some food.
Well, we're throwing out fish because Lord knows I'm not going to eat any
Yeah,
fish.
and I can't stop because I'm
Right.
way up in the crow's nest.
And we don't have enough time to get it well done enough for you.
Guy's eating a donut and a cup of coffee. The girl complains. Here's what I don't understand. Keep us at sea.
All right.
Keep us at sea. Oh, please get.
Tough turn.
Yeah, that was coming about heartily.
He's eating a donut, drinking some coffee. in
Here's what
class.
I don't understand.
Okay.
All right, stop. We're going to put into port. Just get us it back to port.
Oh, she had a crash
Dock
on
the
it.
damn boat.
Yeah, she's there.
All right. Okay, I'm coming down now. That's my sound effect for coming back to the deck.
All right. Because I heard you coming down. You wear those cowboy boots up there, don't
Sometimes I do. Yeah. Here's what I don't understand.
you? Do tell.
It's maybe you said this, and we were so involved with sailing that I didn't hear it. But
I probably didn't, but go ahead.
well, you said something about something was inconceivable to you.
It's that a kid would go to the principal's office to complain about that. I can't understand.
Exactly. Or more so, it's inconceivable to me that a student would go home and around the dinner table, the discussion, how'd your day go in school? And the kid says, well, I think we have trouble. The teacher gets to have a donut and coffee, and I don't.
Before you go any further, what would your mom and dad have said? Had you if you come home, sat at the dinner table, and you explained that to them, what would their response be?
Have you seen my television commercial?
Yes.
The look I give the guy with the body piercing?
Yes.
That's the look the old man would have given me.
Exactly. And most other all the other garage logicians out there.
No, his exact quote would be, Judas Priest, what in the hell's wrong with you? What are you talking about? Okay. Now, so there's a number of inconceivables here. A, that the student was actually bothered by this and thought it an example of unfairness. That's A. B, that she tells her parents. C, that they backed her up. There's your key ingredient in this. Because I trust this guy. Sean has written us a number of times.
Right.
He wouldn't,
Credible.
there's nothing in it for him to make this up. I can see this happening. So C, the parents not only say, oh, is that right, dear? You didn't get to have your snack in the class, but the teacher does? Well, we're going to talk to the school. Inconceivable D, number 4, that the administration would entertain this as being a serious and credible complaint. Inconceivable 5 would be A, B, C, D, E. We're at E now. That they then admonish the teacher to set an example.
Put him on the defensive.
Are
as far
you
as,
kidding me?
Explain yourself for this, sir.
Unbelievable. In fact, it's unbleeping believable.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. So, there, look.
And he had the greatest point. He said, listen, I set a good example by throwing my trash away.
Well, this guy's
Kids
a
that drink
GLer.
Mountain-
He's going to last 10 minutes in there. I mean.
Kids that drink Mountain Dew and eat Doritos don't.
No, but look. That's Isle, Minnesota. This isn't just happening in Orono and in Robbinsdale and Edina and Eden Prairie and Minneapolis South and St. Paul Central. This is everywhere. This abdication of adults afraid to exercise authority, afraid to say, hey, if it was me, I mean, my God, I'd be sued. Because I can't imagine. I would have blown up. My head would have just, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I would have said, what in the hell? Wait a minute. I would have said, we'll call her Clarice. Hey, Clarice, you mean to tell me that you not only were bothered by this, but you were bothered by it to the extent where you went home and this was your report for the day that I was having my Starbucks and a donut? And then I would have turned to the parents, and you people, you find this credible? That this should be a concern worthy of your time? Then I'd have to turn to the administration, and I would say, and you people are going to defend that? I mean, these people can't win. Oh, my God. That's just pathetic. That's just pathetic. I cannot. Now, here's the other thing that sometimes puzzles me.
What's that?
As I walk along the service road of life. Are we out of step? Am I just lucky? That's a euphorian trick, by the way. Oh, you're just lucky. That can apply to many things. So, you're just lucky. My kid wouldn't do that.
You're right.
Well,
My kids won't.
Well, I don't have any kids anymore.
Right.
I have
Kids
one that I'm familiar with. But
the one that was in
the
Pepsi
one
industry?
the one I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
She wouldn't do that.
No.
Well, the kid's no saint or anything. Great kid. You know what I'm saying.
Right, exactly.
But well, actually, she is a saint.
Well, number one, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I
compared
take
to this
that back.
crap I'm hearing. No, but you think my kid would come home and say, I always say, hey, well, what's up? How'd it go? Well, you know what happened today in history? What? Teacher ate a donut. Oh, really? Yeah, and I think it's unfair. And I'm trying to place myself in the role of somebody who could actually be concerned about that.
Well,
I can't do it.
Right.
I can't even make myself imagine how I'm supposed to give a rat's ass that the teacher ate a donut. What am I supposed to say? And these parents must have said to the kid, "Oh, honey,
how did that make you feel?
That must have been hard on you, huh? Yeah, I didn't get to eat my Doritos or nothing. Anything. Nothing, anything." So that would have been my inclination. You don't mean nothing. You mean anything.
Yes. Well, number one, most
God
GL
almighty.
kids, it wouldn't even come up where or if they did, they'd be giving the teacher the needle. Hey, Mr. Wilson, how come you get to eat donuts?
Exactly. A GL kid would say, "Hey, don't choke on that donut, Sean, baby." Something.
Right.
Where the kid would get it. The kid would
Right.
the kid would know that as the adult,
There's some privileges.
that's a taste he gets.
Exactly.
He gets to eat a lousy donut
And some bad coffee.
and some crummy lounge coffee at 8 a.m. because he's an adult. Oh, it's just amazing. Kelly, can you hear me?
Yes.
Make a note to yourself to call that guy from International Falls first thing tomorrow. We're not giving up on that guy.
Tell him it's taken care of.
All right. See?
I don't give you that kind of respect.
No,
do
not
I?
at all.
No. I say I'll start a file on it and then I forget about it.
Well, you got files.
Right.
We're running out of space for your files.
know we
They're
are.
all empty.
I need a Cray
and nothing
supercomputer.
happens with them, but we got files. Jeremy.
Hello, Joe.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, I wanted to tell you that this thing happens even at the 4th grade level. A couple weeks ago, I had a kid who was walking away from me outside on the playground, and I told her that if she walked off the playground, I would call the cops. Another student looked at me and goes, "Mr. Brown, you can't do that." And she just got really mad at me and started walking towards the building that she wanted to tell the principal too. I looked at her and I said, "Who are you to tell me what I can and can't do?"
Good for you.
But it was just, this happens every day with this student because she's very smart. She's a 4th grader that reads at a 7th grade level, and she's very smart, but she just, you know what, she can do whatever she wants, and whenever I put down my foot and dish out some discipline, she says it's not right for me to do that. So
Does the administration take you to task?
no, they totally support me with that. So that's nice. But
Yeah, you don't want the kid wandering off the playground.
No way, and I've actually done that once. I've had to call the cops because a kid walked out of the school,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not pleasant to do. But I let the student know that I was going to do that.
What are the
and,
parents? How did her parents react?
Her parents, you know what? In this case, this one person was very supportive. But in other cases, I've done stuff like this. They have yelled me up and down the street. I was yelled at by one student's mom a couple last year, and just for 30 minutes, she just ripped into me, and I just sat there like, okay, whatever. She thought her daughter was perfect, and it wasn't the case. So it just happens at this level. Even 4th graders have problems with it.
Let me ask you a wild question off the top of my head.
Yeah.
A mother who would be angry with you because she's got it in her head that her kid's perfect.
Right.
Would that be a working mother?
Yeah. Let's see. This one, I don't think so. I wasn't too sure
All right.
what was going on.
All right, I didn't know where I was going to go with that, but
Yeah, it's kind of a group of people, and luckily most of my parents don't give me a lot of crap when there's something going on in the classroom, and
right.
it's nice to have that to some extent, but it's just these kids think that they can run the place and they can tell me what I can and can't do. Even a 7th grader today pulled away from me because she was running, and I told her to stop running down the hall, and she pulled away from me like she was the boss. And and I cannot believe these kids are going to grow up and run the country one day. I hope something changes with them.
Well, Jeremy, good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank
Bye.
you. Jim?
Yeah, hi, Joe.
Hi.
Say, I'm calling in as an ex-teacher. I fled the asylum 2 years ago.
All right.
And this is exactly one of the reasons. But one of the takes that I want to do on this is have an assumption here. Let's assume that the teacher wasn't doing anything that was against school policy.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, it was just fine with the school policy that he be eating in his classroom.
Right.
Where's the administration backing up the teacher here?
Well,
it's kind of a weenie move to pull him in front of parents if he's not breaking a school policy.
Well, of course it is.
That was the first thought I had is, what in the heck is he doing in front of parents? That administrator, he or she, isn't doing their job.
Right.
And they should be backing him up, and that's one of the reasons I got out, was because more and more the administration was afraid of parents. And instead, because they don't want to lose the dollars, or if you're in a private school, they don't want to lose the tuition, they're going to come down on the side of the parents, and the teacher's the one that takes the brunt of it.
Well, it's a shame, and I feel for you.
Well, they're losing a lot of good teachers because of that.
Well, this Sean guy, if I'm not mistaken, he left. The guy that was eating the donut, he's no longer a teacher.
Yeah, I know. I sat in front of parents with the administrator before, but usually it's the administration is on your side and they're backing you up, but it doesn't sound like that's what happened here.
They're going to lose a lot of GL teachers.
Well, they they already have, Joe.
Right.
That's why you see what's going on here.
Right. All right, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. You know, they're all working at University of Garage Logic or Garage Logic High School. I mean, the applications they get at those schools is just... it's overwhelming. But what can they do? These are all teachers that have already professed garage logicianship. And we got more trying to get in all the time. Say, please don't go away. Garage Logic will return. Cameron?
Yeah, Joe?
Yes?
I just wanted to tell you, you were talking about the girl who told her teacher, why don't we get donuts and stuff?
Right.
My social studies teacher over at Fred Moore Middle School, Mr. Schutte, there's 3 girls who just, they ramble on and on about everything. And Mr. Schutte just says, you know what, if you really want to ramble on, how about I personally walk you over to the elementary school across the street, and you can sit in the 2nd grade chair and have the teacher yell at you because I'm not going to waste my time on you.
Good for Mr. Schutte.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I suppose their parents are going to come after him sooner or later.
Well, actually, usually they just shrink down the seat because he's like 6'7".
Yeah.
He's really tall.
Yeah. What grade would this be?
7th grade.
So that keeps him quiet and you can move on with class.
Yep.
Well, you're lucky. Go, Mr. Schutte.
Yep.
All right, Cameron.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Carrie.
Hi.
Hi.
I got a 2-part hilarious story. My 14-year-old last year, he's 15 now, we were sitting there reading side by side, and he was going on and on about he wanted to do this and that, and I just say, no, and he goes, all of a sudden he goes, well, Dad gets to, and I go, oh, were you under the misconception that you have the same rights as your dad?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just dumbfounded that he didn't have the same rights, and I said, you know, you have privileges, and those are earned, but you have no rights. And he just was speechless. He couldn't believe it. I mean, he's 14.
Uh-huh.
The second part was this last year, he wanted to have something, and we were driving to pick up a friend of his to go to my other son's baseball game. And he was going on and on. He goes, why can't you change? And I said, well, I don't have to change. I'm 40 years old. You know, you're the one that's going to keep changing. I'm pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, what does that mean? You're the superior being and I'm a peasant?
Yep.
And I go, well, if those are the choices, yep, I'd be the superior being and you'd be the peasant. So we get to the baseball game, and him and his buddy are going to run the concession stand. And he makes this little cardboard sign that says, donations for the hungry, for himself, you know. and I told my husband, you know, the story, and he went over to the concession stand. He said, hey, Justin, cross out hungry, and why don't you just put in peasant? And so then Justin looks at Tom and he goes, oh, Mom talked to you, huh? Oh, it was just classic, these guys. But you know what? If you're a good parent in my GL point of view, you tell the kid who's boss and stick to it.
Well, of course.
I mean, and my sister is a calculus teacher in Seattle, and she was in California, and she has a Ph.D. in philosophy, and she was the 58th woman aviator ever in the Navy, and this incredible intellect, speaks 6 languages.
Right.
She wants to quit all that and give back to the system that gave her all these grants and scholarships, right?
Yeah.
And these
That's
kids,
a bad sign.
It's I mean, you just can't even believe it. But
that's Seattle for you.
Well, and this was
Seattle's
Palmdale, California, and
Sure.
and the kid goes, she's trying to tell them, you know, You need to get this work done if you want to have a future, because they think if they don't bring a pencil, they don't have to do the work.
Right.
This is the mentality, and this is high school in Palmdale, California.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, well, what do you want to do? End up digging ditches your whole life? Well, apparently one of the students' father dug ditches.
Uh-huh.
And she got hauled in, and both parents, and with the vice principal, just called her names, and she was on her permanent record because she had the analogy of, because this kid, wasn't doing his work, and all of a sudden one of the kids in the class, Dad's dug ditches.
Well, the world needs ditch diggers, too.
Oh,
Can you
my
picture
God.
that kid, the arms slowly kind of going up?
Excuse me, my dad is a ditch digger.
Yeah,
What is
no,
a ditch
no, but-
digger anyway? Who
Guy
digs
that digs ditches.
Who digs ditches?
The guy.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah, world needs ditch diggers.
Yeah, well, my son is pink eye. I got to get him to the doctor.
All right, goodbye.
Thanks.
All right.
Don't we have machines to dig ditches now?
Oh, you're going to say, don't we have machines to take care of pink eye?
Yeah, or that, too.
Pink eye, contagious.
Yes.
You want to take care of that right away.
Yep.
Not that I know anything about it, except that's what I know about
Oh,
it.
that's what you hear on the street.
That's what you hear.
Right.
Carrie.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm only 24,
All right.
and at that age, I wouldn't think that the school system has changed all that much from when I was in school. And it occurred to me that our principals were still allowed to use the paddle when I was in grade school.
So that would have been
Early 80s.
12 years ago.
Early 80s.
At a
81, 82.
At a public school?
Yeah.
Where?
Arkansas.
Well, there you are.
But even
Probably
I
hit
went
you
to
with a
Woodbury.
banjo.
Huh?
Probably hit you with a banjo.
I went to Woodbury, though, and I had a science teacher that if you fell asleep in class would pour water on you.
I'm all for that.
And, man, I wanted to go into teaching, but some of these stories just scare me.
Yeah. What do you do now?
Well, it's typesetting.
Yeah.
It's like soft programming.
But you're gainfully employed.
Yes.
Yes.
But
Carrie?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Arkansas, nothing's...
Say no more.
That doesn't even count.
Right. Say no more.
Stories about Arkansas don't even count. Dan.
Yeah, Joe.
Hi.
Say, I basically lived the example to show how far things have slid.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was a kid, I was in grade school with Franciscan nuns.
Mm-hmm.
One day I didn't finish my sandwich, finished half of it.
Mm-hmm.
On the way home, I finished the other half on a city bus.
Mm-hmm.
Figuring, no problem. The next morning, my teacher walks me right up to me, grabs me by the arm, hustles me out of the class, and up to the principal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what's going on here. And I wind up getting the verbal shoe in the hiney for eating my sandwich on a city bus.
Really?
Yeah. Later on, when I got home, I walked through the door and stopped, not knowing why I stopped, because I don't think I was too familiar with the effects of the look, shot me by my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I didn't know what was going on until my dad got home.
Yeah, because the old man was always... See, a good set of parents always play good cop, bad cop.
Well, I got the proverbial shoe in the hiney from the old man.
Sure, wait till your father gets home.
And she didn't even say that. She just shot me to look and sent me to my room. And
all for eating a sandwich on a bus?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I figured either they had a heck of a good network of spies or the long-range penguin radar was up and running.
I would say the penguin radar was up and running.
But some 30-some-odd years later, I'm thinking, God, what a nasty thing to do to a kid.
Yep.
But it shows how far things have slid.
Yep.
Now, there is probably a law for eating on the bus.
Well, I got punished, too, from the old man.
Yeah. Well,
And
the wait till your dad gets home, that's missing today. That would help a lot of things.
Well, I got
That was a
punished and
pure
told
hour.
basically eat my lunch at lunchtime and
Right.
finish the whole thing.
Yeah. All right, Dan, good luck.
Bye.
All right.
The wait till your father gets home was
Yeah.
a pure
terror.
hour and a half of terror.
That's all it is terror.
Right.
It's good cop, bad cop. You'd go to the mom and plead for mercy, but she would
No,
just
and
say,
she's the softie.
knowing that she can intervene, but she just, no, you just wait till your father.
Well,
gets home.
you've made your bed, sonny boy.
Oh, and then it would you were just frozen. You would, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Seeing the car pull up,
Oh,
waiting until you
Oh.
hear him walk in. You hear in the kitchen,
Uh-huh.
what?
yeah.
And then the door open for the upstairs. Yeah, that was that pretty much it.
We'll be back after these important announcements.
Latte Schmate. Here's Joe Souchere.
Every town I go in, there's a street. Name of the street.
Listen to this. And this is proof.
Of more global warming.
This is proof that people in Minnesota, at least, bought the current issue of Playboy and really haven't gotten around to the photographs.
What have you got?
Guy sent me, George Bennett just sent me the, you know how they have the Playmate data sheet?
Yes, this one was born in 1974,
77.
Thank you.
Her name's Kara Wakeland.
She's an Aussie.
I didn't know that.
Is she?
I don't know.
Think so.
How do you know? Yes, you're right. Obviously, you skipped the interview and went right to the Playmate.
I know
data
everything
sheet.
in the interview already. What do we got? I don't get my hands on a Playboy too often.
She's from Melbourne, Australia.
Yes.
So,
I did some big time editing there. I was going to go full
I know
blown
you
into
did.
it, and I'd
I'm
said,
proud of you.
Oh, and I just said,
I'm happy.
yes,
I'm
yes.
pleased.
I just wanted you to know that.
Well, you know, this is where they say, you know, what's your turn-ons, your turn-offs, your
Right.
favorite quote. I wish I had, and her answer was legs as long as ropes.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll wait.
And more than that.
But that's not what I brought it up for.
Okay.
My philosophy. Now, isn't it ironic?
This should be good.
This is pretty good. This is her philosophy.
From down under.
She's from down under. Bear in mind, what? Don't make me lose track of my thinking.
Her
here.
philosophy.
This is the Playmate of the month. This is the issue that features Governor Ventura in an interview.
Yes. Give it
Governor
a go.
Ventura is now on the Why Buy a Cow When Milk is So Cheap presidential publicity tour.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the philosophy of the month's Playmate. Never bite the ass of the cow that feeds you. There, it all comes together, doesn't it? It all comes together. Talk about a link.
Does
Here,
it really and
that's
truly
what it
say
says. There it is, circled. Never bite the ass of the cow that feeds you.
What is that?
Plus, this I don't know how deep this chick's gene pool
Apparently
must be.
not very.
Because her favorite quote is from Ann Landers.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What is it?
We wouldn't worry so much about what people thought of us if we knew how seldom they did.
Yes.
It just says in parentheses, Landers. I'm assuming it's Ann Landers.
Okay.
That suggests a paucity of reading. If the only quote you can drag up from your life is, well, something I read in Ann Landers last week really stuck
I can
with
even
me.
do more than that.
Yeah, I know you can. You know, minor moot and manage a tank still.
Lighten
still.
Meine Mutter lighten the tank still.
So anyway, he's on the Why Buy a Cow and Milk is So Cheap publicity tour, and
Man.
lo and behold, here's
That
the
is
Playmate
spooky.
who says, never bite the ass of the cow that feeds you. You tell me that things aren't linked, huh?
That's pretty good.
World needs ditch diggers, too.
I can just see that kid getting red in the face.
I've sent a lot of kids your age to the gas chamber. I didn't want to. I felt I owed it to them. Where are we? Here we are. Ben.
Yes.
Hi.
I can see them taking this school thing to the next level.
All right.
And that is, it's unfair that the teacher can have the answers accessible while we have to have a closed book when we take these quizzes.
I think that's already happened in certain cases where there have been, at least at the college level, some sort of insistence on grade equity and the unfairness of grading, which would play right into what you so rightfully imagined to be happening.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affair.
Yes, it is.
Have a good day.
Thank you. And here is the man himself, Sean.
Hey, Joe.
Sean from Isle. You taught in Isle. You no longer do, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Right. And you had a little Java and a little donut, and the kid went home and complained.
Yeah, that was a common complaint, and that's been my standard answer for years. But actually, shortly after, I had a performance review, and I'll read one line to you from it.
All right.
says teasing and ridicule are not acceptable forms of motivation in the classroom.
In other words, you weren't allowed to give the kid the needle.
The needle was taken away, and right then and there I thought, I'm getting out.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Real quickly, I don't know if you heard me, but among the things that astonished me about your letter is how could that girl even bother to bring that up at home, much less have her parents then support her?
Oh, they're a bunch of little barristers nowadays, Joe.
It's
they're
just
griping about everything.
And then the administration didn't back you up.
Oh, for me that was, part
Typical,
of the course.
because you were a GL teacher.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you do now?
I am a corporate trainer for one of our major banks located in downtown St. Paul, actually.
You like that better?
Oh, sure.
Good.
You bet. Actually, I got another thing, too, where Rook was talking about the parents mumbling before he got the old man got the belt out.
Right.
We got home. I was a twin, and here's a question you guys might want to ponder. My dad, the old man, would walk into the room, and both of us would be shuddering in there.
Yeah.
And he'd say, okay, who's first? So what's your choice then? To watch your twin brother writhe in pain getting the belt on the bare ass, or do you want to go first and experience the pain? So that's one to ponder someday. Who's first?
Who's first? He didn't even bother to find out who was guilty.
Well, we were usually both were.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right, thank
Hey,
you,
good
Sean.
luck, Joe.
Good luck.
That's pretty good.
Good luck.
Who's first?
Houston and Atlanta tied at the bottom of the third inning.
Indeed,
1-1. We'll be back right after this.
Now, live from St. Paul, the capital city of the state where nothing is allowed. It's the Joe Souchere Show.
This just in from Paul Schlick, chairman of the Institute for Cylinder Appreciation at the University of Garage Logic, who dug into the files of Garage Logic Public School Number 1, located at 100 Common Sense River Road, Garage Logic, Minnesota. This was a letter sent to parents of students in Garage Logic High School.
Concerning?
Dear parents, we have a large number of students in our school this year who live in Euphoria, Diversityville, and Liberal Lakes. We welcome all students and are pleased that these children will get the quality education at Garage Logic PS Number 1 that they would not get elsewhere. However, there has been considerable confusion about responsibilities. Since we do things here differently than elsewhere in Gumption County, this letter outlines the responsibilities that you and we have in educating your child. Our responsibilities as educators are to provide top-quality teachers who are rewarded for the job they do in improving your child's knowledge and not for the length of time they have taught or the number of diplomas they have collected. Teach a curriculum heavy in subjects that your child needs to become successful and absent of trendy, unproven educational theories or useless field trips. Offer full days of quality instruction regardless of snowfall or temperature. Demand consistent discipline from every child so that all kids can learn, and foster a competitive spirit in every child by keeping score so they will see failure as a good incentive for trying harder the next time and might even experience the thrill of victory. Your responsibilities as parents are to get your well-rested child to school every day on time. Feed them before they arrive. Take an active interest in your child's daily homework activities. Teach discipline at home and support our staff should your child misbehave, and provide parental counseling if your child needs it, as we do not employ grief counselors. I hope this clears up any confusion. To save costs, this letter was not sent to Garage Logic parents who inherently understand parental responsibilities. Sincerely, Jock Johnson, Principal. That's how it's done at GLPS.
Can you imagine
number
if that
1.
letter was sent out
PS
to a
number
regular
1.
school?
No, I can't. Lynn?
Yeah, hi, Joe.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Well, my daughter is in kindergarten at a elementary school here in White Bear Lake, and I'd like to read you just a few lines of a letter we got sent home.
All right. Item brought home in a backpack.
Yes.
All right.
So one of the very special things about a particular elementary school is that every staff member works hard to help every student feel a strong sense of community.
I see.
As psychologists, thank you. As psychologists, part of our job in this regard is to help students learn social skills such as sharing, taking turns, and being a good listener. They're basically asking for our children to have permission to participate in fun friendship activities. So, needless to say, I signed the bottom, which meant my daughter's not allowed to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Good for you.
I wish we could send that letter you just wrote, or just read on the air.
Lynn, good luck.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Yesterday, about halfway through the show, we got wind of the story from the northern reaches of Saskatchewan, where residents in the town of Beauval are claiming to see the Blessed Virgin Mary on the windows of some homes. And I need to establish, I'm not attempting to develop any theological breakthrough here. What intrigues me most about the story is that images of the Blessed Virgin have been videotaped, according to news stories. And I'm just wondering why we're not seeing them. Considering the way CNN and the New York Times and the Minneapolis Star-Tribune and the St. Paul Pioneer Press and all other conventional outlets went hook, line, and sinker for the Raelians in their cloned baby story. They were able to offer nothing. Now, it may very well prove to be that the videotape is easily disputed or refuted or disqualified. The fact remains they have more than was ever offered in the case of the Raelians. Are we ready, Rook?
Yes,
and,
we are.
One of the women who we mentioned yesterday is a woman named Bertha DeRocher, and I believe we're ready to go. Hello, Bertha.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
My name is Joe Souchere. May I call you Bertha?
Yes, you may.
And we have reached you in, please pronounce the name of your town.
Beauval, Saskatchewan.
Beauval. Why so many French in that part of Saskatchewan? I thought all the French people were in Quebec.
I know, and they're trying to get a hold of somebody to speak French over here, but we don't have any. We speak Métis.
I see. Bertha, is it on your window at your home that you are seeing the Blessed Virgin?
Yes, it is. It started last Monday on January the 6th was the first image I seen. And it was on for 3 nights, and we videotaped it.
Have you played the videotape for anybody?
It's been going steady for 1 week, and it's on right now because I have a couple of visitors right now viewing the tape.
But Bertha, have you made the tape? Has any news outlet asked for the tape?
No, they haven't.
Could you send me a copy of the tape?
I am not willing to let the tape go like that yet. I don't know when.
If a television station came to you, would you play the tape for them?
For them to watch, I would, yes.
Okay. So if CNN, for example, would send a correspondent and a crew, you would make the tape available to them?
Yes, yes.
The reason I asked, Bertha, were you aware about 2 weeks ago of the story of the Raelians who claimed to have cloned a baby?
No, I didn't. I heard a little bit about that in the news. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And they offered no evidence, no proof, no pictures, no scientific papers. They didn't offer anything, and yet they got tremendous coverage. So when I heard about your story yesterday, it seemed to me that you do have a piece of evidence, which would be the videotape.
That's right.
Did the Blessed Virgin appear last night?
Yes, she did.
Now, how, for example, do you know that the image you're seeing is the Blessed Virgin?
Because I've seen pictures of her. I've seen the statues of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't the only one to view her on the window. There's quite a few people.
Does she move on the window?
Yes, she moves around. She looks around. And you could also see children kneeling down in front of her, and a lot of people see other images.
Do the images vary from night to night?
Yes, they do.
So that would seem to discount the idea that it's some sort of shadow or mist or condensation on the window if it's changing from night to night.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's changing from night to night.
Do you remain in your house, or do you have to go outside to see it?
You have to go outside to see it.
So you have to leave your own house.
Yeah.
And
well,
then
it's
what?
Just, it's just outside and stand in front of the window.
Stand in front of the window.
Yeah.
And how many people were there last night, for example?
Well, last night and all day yesterday, we had close to 50.
Mm-hmm.
But in the previous days, we had, like on Monday, there was about 80 last Monday. Tuesday night, there must have been about 300 at least.
Is Bouval a difficult town to reach in Saskatchewan?
No, it's not. No, it's easy to get here.
Do you have an airport?
We have an airport. We have roads, highways.
And have you talked to Canadian newspapers? Obviously, you've talked to a newspaper, what, in Winnipeg? And
in Winnipeg, yeah, and I talked to a station in Regina this morning, and last week on Tuesday I talked to a radio station that's aired in the north over here to all the communities.
Are you frightened by what you're seeing?
No, I'm not. I'm very happy. The reason I'm not frightened is because the images of Mary was also seen in other communities in our area.
In another area, could you say the name of that town where the image appeared before your town? Isle de...
The first place was Isle La Crosse, Saskatchewan.
Isle La Crosse. How far is that from your town?
That's about 50 kilometers from my town.
Now, I understand that the image there appeared on on the window of a greenhouse.
Yes, that's true, yeah. And she's also appearing again, from what I heard yesterday, yeah.
Because the argument could be made that in a greenhouse you do have considerable moisture and condensation. At least that's what I've been reading. That would not seem to be the case in your house.
And it doesn't seem like it at all, no, not when you can see it clearly.
What does clearly mean? Are you seeing the woman's facial features?
And when we first seen her the night, we could.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see her veil and her rosary beads and her hands moving and her head moving.
And these children at her feet, do they look like kids of today or from a different era? Or
Well, we can tell it's kids because they're kneeling down and they're smaller and she's looking down to them, so there's a couple of kids all the time.
Do you expect that she might speak to you?
Well, maybe. I'm hoping that I will hear some kind of message soon.
How old are you?
I'm 42 years old.
Do you have a family?
Yes, I do.
A husband and kids?
I have a husband and 2 kids living with me, but I have 6 kids.
And have the 2 kids living with you and your husband, have they also seen this?
Oh, yes, they did, and my husband is really amazed about it, too.
Prior to seeing this, would you have described your husband as a skeptic?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, he when I first told him about it, he wasn't home. He didn't believe it at all. He had to see it himself.
Mm-hmm. How did you first notice it? Were you coming home from an evening out or something? Or
yeah, I had went for a walk, and I was walking into my driveway about 7 o'clock last Monday night, and I seen her on the window. But I didn't tell anybody about it till about 5 hours later when I came back home after going out somewhere, and she was just you couldn't say it wasn't there. She was really noticeable.
Have you tried any experiments? For example, have you turned off all the lights in your house?
There was no lights on at all inside. There was people that came inside to even check themselves. They came and looked at the window from the inside.
Does the image show up on still photography?
No, it doesn't.
It does not, but
No, because I took pictures with my camera, and we got them developed, and we cannot see her as well as the camcorder video.
But on camcorder, you can see it plain as day.
Yes, you can.
And as I mentioned earlier, if a news outlet came to your home, you would sit them down and show this to them.
I would show them the video, but I don't know if I would release the video to anybody.
See. Well, what if a television crew came to your yard and filmed it for themselves? Would you be agreeable to that?
Yeah, I would agree to that. Yeah, if she's there, if she's showing, then there's some people that come into my house also with their camcorders and videoed my TV from what's on the TV.
Mm-hmm. And has a priest ever shown? A priest has shown up, right?
Oh yeah, he was here last week Tuesday, but our priest is sick right now too, so
I would say
we have him in our prayers.
I would say if the priest is sick, get him back to your front yard.
That's the way he needs to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're praying for him anyway.
Mm-hmm. And the Archbishop of your diocese, he has not seen this.
No.
And are you Catholic?
Yes, I am.
Are there non-Catholics who are seeing this?
There's a few non-Catholics that do come in.
Do you ever wonder why your house?
Yes, I do wonder why my house. I do not have that answer, though.
Are you from Bouval?
Yes, I've been living here all my life. I've been living in this house for the past 22 years, actually.
How old is your house?
Probably 22. It was brand new when I moved in, 22 years.
Mm-hmm. How big is the window that she's appearing in?
It's a big picture window, I would say about 100 in it long, but she only appears on the one side of the window, eh?
You mean either the right or the left side?
Yeah, from inside it's on the left-hand side.
Right. But if you're in the house, you don't see anything.
No.
If you go, and you've tried that. You've been outside and seen her, and you've gone into the house and not seen her.
Well, that first night when she appeared, that Monday night, when we were sitting here at 3 o'clock in the morning, we opened the blinds and whatnot and lit some candles. We could see her from the inside. She was looking towards outside, but not as clear as you would outside.
I have also read that there has been a smell of flowers. Do you?
Yeah, roses. Smell of roses. People would sit here and they can smell roses. Some cannot smell them, but some can.
Is it very cold there with a lot of snow on the ground?
No, like that night on Tuesday the 7th, January the 7th, it was just melting over here. High went up to +8, and that's really good here. And after that, it's been cold, like it's been -31.
Yeah, because in cold air, it would seem unlikely that you would be able to smell fresh flowers.
Inside you can, inside the house. That's where they've been smelling it, not outside.
How long does this image stay on the window?
Well, the first night it was there all night. On the second night it was there half of the night. Wednesday, third night she appeared for a while, for a few hours, and then she didn't appear for 3 nights, and then she appeared again, and just for a while.
Now, are you aware? My readings suggest that these kinds of phenomena are not unusual, that they do happen occasionally around the world. And you will get reports every once in a while of an image appearing in a. Oh, I've even read stories where people claim to see the face of a religious figure on the side of a mailbox or in a piece of pastry in a coffee shop. Have you read those kinds of stories?
Yeah, I have a friend out in California since this happened that's been phoning me, that's been sending me some stories, and I've been reading those.
I have to take a break here, Bertha. Can you hang on the line with us just for a few more moments?
Sure.
I'll put you on hold now. Don't hang up.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We're speaking with Bertha DeRocher in Bouval, Saskatchewan. Well, can we get a plane to go up there with the film crew? I mean, I had to eat this Raelian crap for breakfast for 2 weeks.
You're right.
Why am I not seeing this?
You're right.
We'll
I'm
be right back.
surprised CNN hasn't jumped on it.
Governor?
Yes, sir, Joe.
How are you, sir?
I'm at the top of my game.
Attaboy.
I'm
Governor.
having a good stay. I just came from an amazing program, a faith-based institution called Sharing and Caring Hands.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, Joe. It's really, really good.
What is it you like about it? That it's private?
I like that. I like the fact that it's changing lives. And I think that government needs not fear faith-based institutions, but encourage them, and encourage them to become an integral part of the compassionate delivery of help for people.
George W. Bush, governor of Texas, leading Republican candidate for president. Are you? You obviously saw USA Today, which showed that if it was just between you and Al Gore today, you would win about 58% to. Let me put on my drugstore glasses. 55% to 38%.
Well, I appreciate that. But Joe, there's a long way between now and Election Day, and I've got to earn my party's nomination, and that's exactly what I intend to do. I'm going to work hard, work smart, put out a positive message, and earn the vote.
Can you have you yet crystallized the answer that presumably has been asked of you? Exactly why is it you want to be president?
No, absolutely. I've answered it 1,000 times. And I'll give you the short version. I want our nation to be prosperous, but there must be a purpose to prosperity. I know and you know that governments don't create wealth. We create an environment in which entrepreneurship and small businesses can flourish, and that's why I support the tax cut, tort reform, less regulation, and free trade. But my worry is that once we're prosperous, will there be a meaning to prosperity?
Mm-hmm.
Will the American dream touch every willing heart? And that's why I'm spending so much time on talking about local control of schools and high standards, blowing the whistle on failure, battling a standstill in some places, a standstill education system that leaves children behind. And I talk about ushering in what I call the responsibility era, and a key component of that is to rally the armies of compassion which exist all across your city and state to help change lives one person at a time. Education for children means more than just reading and writing and adding and subtracting. It means teaching the children the difference between right and wrong and teaching them good old-fashioned American values.
Are you for school vouchers?
Yes.
All right. Do you also subscribe to the school of thought that more money spent on education does not necessarily result in better academic achievement?
Oh, absolutely, I do. I believe that oftentimes the issue is the structure of education. I believe in competition. I believe in giving parents more opportunity. I tell you how to start the whole education debate, though, and a way to make the logic irrefutable is to measure. And so in my state of Texas, I've insisted on very strong accountability. We post the results, and when there's failure, we blow the whistle on failure. And much of those education reforms in my state have been triggered as a result of a strong accountability system.
What does compassionate conservatism mean? And I ask you that because many people, myself included, would think that it would go without saying that conservatism is compassionate.
Yeah, it should. It should, but oftentimes we conservatives have been labeled by a lot of people, including the people in the White House, that we don't care about other people.
Right.
And you're right. The conservative philosophy is the compassionate philosophy, and it should go without saying. But, Joe, we live in a world where oftentimes we get defined. And I'm not going to have anybody define me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to define myself. It's conservative to cut taxes, and it's compassionate to give people their own money back.
Right.
So they can build up their own dreams. Go ahead.
You'd be on board with this proposed across-the-board 10% tax reduction that the GOP is trying to get through.
Yeah, I'm for a significant tax cut. I'll tell you what else I'm for. I am for making sure the tax code is fair. I spoke out in Iowa the other day against the death taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I think the marriage penalty is bad. And I tell you another part of the tax code that troubles me a lot is if you're a single woman with children and you're going from near poverty to middle class, because of the phase out of the earned income tax credit, you pay a huge tax bite on your marginal income, and that's not fair and it's not right.
Where are you now, sir?
I'm driving around in a car heading to a hotel somewhere.
But I mean, you're here tonight, aren't you?
Oh yes, sir, I am. I just finished going by Mary Jo's place. I've got a little bit of downtime. I've got to make some phone calls, and then I'm going to a fundraising event, and I'm heading on to Indianapolis to spend the night.
Oh, so you won't be staying overnight in Minnesota?
Oh, no, sir. I've got a speech first thing in the morning in Indianapolis.
Well, you're the first Republican candidate for president that's ever called me sir.
Well, you deserve it, don't you? So I'm getting ready to get out of the car.
Huh?
I'm getting ready to get out of the car.
Well, you go ahead.
Well, I appreciate it. I also got to hang up.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you for getting in touch with us.
I'm glad to do it, and thanks for taking my call.
Good luck to you.
Okay, sir.
All right, thank you, George W. Bush Jr. You know, how fun can that be? You run for president, you got to call some schlep like me. He had 5 minutes. Now he's got to get out of the car. He has no idea where he is. And then he's got a little downtime. And then he has to go and eat the rubber chicken and get the hell out of here and go to Indianapolis. And this is July. We're, what are we, 15 months from the election. He hasn't even had the endorsing process yet, but he certainly is the leading contender.